Let's discuss mistake factors, shall we? We're rating this. On a scale of 1 to 10, how big of a mistake was it for the Panthers to let Steve Smith Sr. go? Skip Bayless.
Stephen A. Smith, before I answer this question, I must say I love Steve Smith Sr. almost as much as I love Stephen A. Smith. This post-game sound last night, his post-game interview with our guys on ESPN, was about as good as it gets. It was one sensational riff of a quote after another. He was on fire after the game, just as he was on fire during the game. Obviously, he does not like the New Orleans Saints from his days in Carolina. So back to Kerry's question, scale of 1 to 10. I may be being a prisoner of the moment of last night's game, but from what I've seen of what's left of the Panthers, what's left of their spirit this year, I think it's a 10. Mm-hmm. I think they miss him dearly, severely, because this man at age 35, Mr. Smith, is still a little dynamo. He basically caught 4 balls last night, but to me, he set the tone and took the game over and propelled the Ravens to a huge win for them and a devastating loss for the home team, the 3rd straight loss for the New Orleans Saints. So now the Baltimore Ravens have swept what's left of the NFC South, swept all 4 teams. And I think Steve Smith has become a driving force of the Ravens just the way he used to be a driving force of the Panthers. And we heard that the GM in Charlotte wanted to get rid of him and sort of clear the stage for Cam to take over as the unquestioned leader of this team. And it ain't happening. The leader of this team was Steve Smith. And I love what Ray Lewis said. I'll take wisdom over talent any day. Well, that kind of boils down Steve Smith, Cam Newton, wisdom over talent. Cam's got all the talent in the world. Has he yet acquired the wisdom to be the leader of the Carolina Panthers? I say no. And I loved what Steve Smith told John Gruden before the game, that he really didn't fit in Carolina because the quote was, I feel like I was in the minority with the way I play football. He plays it with fighting spirit. He literally got into a fight with Vaccaro last night. But he always gets into scrapes with just about everybody he plays. He always plays with a huge chip on his little shoulder. And in this case, big picture, he fits with the Ravens because they're all fighters. And they fought last night. And bottom line, and I'll hand it off to you, I'm starting to really like this Baltimore team. I think they could be dangerous in the postseason. Again, they got to make the postseason, but I think they will. And I'm not sure I'd want to mess with them in the first round of the playoffs. The floor is yours.
Well, if you remember, Skip Bayless at the beginning of the season, I picked the Baltimore Ravens to win the AFC North, and I think I'm going to stick with that. I think they can win this division because I think they've got that intestinal fortitude, that toughness. Interviewing Ray Lewis on my show, SiriusXM Mad Dog Sports Radio yesterday. He's on every Monday at
Channel 85.
Channel 85.
Thank you.
He was talking about how you've got to take it personal, and there's not enough guys in this league who take it personal. Well, he obviously forgot about Steve Smith until last night's game because Steve Smith Sr. clearly takes it very, very personal. He takes a lot of things personal, and that's a compliment. It's not an insult. And when I think about the Carolina Panthers, I think Gettleman, I think Ron Rivera, I think these guys need to be looked at for making this decision to let go of Steve Smith because it speaks volumes about what's wrong with the Carolina Panthers this year. That Steve Smith was considered somebody you felt you needed to let go because, oh my goodness, he was going to have a negative influence, whether it would be on Cam Newton or anybody else. You need, especially in a sport as physical as football, you need somebody feisty. You need somebody who's looking to fight. Because that individual is the one that doesn't allow you to lollygag in practice. He's the one that doesn't allow you to cower during games. He makes sure that you stand up and take accountability for whatever it is that your job description entails, and you move forward from that perspective. That is who Steve Smith is. That is who he has been throughout his career. And that is why at the age of 35, clearly having already admitted that he may have lost a step, can still take guys' lunch money because he's an exceptional route runner, but more importantly, he's an elite competitor. And when I look at him, he's exactly what the Baltimore Ravens needed. He fits their mold to a T. And when all is said and done, he may really end up being the guy who saves Baltimore's season.
Yeah.
Because without him, think about what Flacco would do since Peter went down. All you'd have at your disposal is Torrey Smith. And this kid, Forsett, by the way, I believe is better than Ray Rice. Based on what, in terms of his quickness, his elusivity, the way that he runs the football. I think that he's better than at least the Ray Rice that I saw last year rushing for 660 yards. He's miniature, he's small, but he's strong, he's quick. He's got the ability to get outside and make things happen that way. He's quick of foot. I like this kid a lot. Forsett is no joke to me, and I think that he's a welcomed addition. But it starts with Steve Smith on the offensive side of the ball for Baltimore. It's about his toughness. And what have we seen Carolina lack all season long on offense? Toughness. We've seen Cam Newton getting beat up. We've seen an offensive line that hasn't protected him nearly as well as it should. We've seen receivers outside of Kelvin Benjamin that can't get open. We've seen an offense devoid of innovativeness. I just look at them right now and, I ask myself, how in God's name could you even think that getting rid of Steve Smith was a good thing for Cam Newton and this offense? It makes absolutely no sense to me. And if I'm the owner, Richardson, I'm asking that question.
I would be too.